Since Jack Finney wrote the original novel in 1954, one of the quintessential science fiction stories has been
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
It's a story of aliens invading not through giant flying saucers or exploding landmarks, but by infiltrating humankind, in secret. Pod people. People by way of alien vegetation with zero emotion. Sent to kill and then become us. There have been 4 official movie versions of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, with a new one on the way, but the concept plays so well into humans' tendency towards extreme paranoia that there have been tons of stories that snatch from body snatchers. They snatch from... Anyway, considering how easy it's been for humans throughout history to become paranoid that we are in groups perpetually out to destroy one another's ways of life, whether it's religion or politics, the way we dress or talk or eat, there's always some reason to fear that person sitting next to you might be one of them, whomever them is. So, here are some stories that feed into that. Some of them are good, some of them are pod good, code for bad. Hey, you know Asylum, the studio that gave sci-fi and the world the juggernaut that is the Sharknado franchise? Well, they made a movie called Invasion of the Pod People in 2007, also for sci-fi. It's a movie populated by actors, let's say, who may or may not be pod people themselves, going under the speciesist assumption that pod people can't act. Anyway, they're all being terrorized by evil alien Ginger Root. The majority of the movie is shot in offices where the air conditioner is louder than the actors most of the time.
This is all so bizarre.
But I do like ginger. Have it with my sushi. Anyway, this movie is at the bottom for a reason. Sorry, company who pays my bills. So part of the reason Asylum made Pod People in the first place is because the last big budget Body Snatchers movie also came out in 2007. The Invasion. And you'd think that the big takeaway from it would be that it stars both Nicole Kidman and an at-the-time James Bondless Daniel Craig, but instead, what most people remember, if they remember anything at all, is that there were extensive reshoots done by none other than the Wachowskis. Well, that and the fact that the invasion focuses too much on chase sequences and not enough on anything else, really. The Invasion is kind of the island of body snatcher movies. Some cool action sequences, but it doesn't really make a lick of sense. You probably don't care about anyone. Also, Nicole Kidman has a really bad wig. A year before Invasion of the Body Snatchers arrived in book form, Invaders from Mars was acting as a kind of proto-Body Snatchers film, but instead of replacing everyone, the aliens were controlling them instead.
Gee whiz.
And while the 1953 version is good, it's the 1986 Tobe Hooper directed version that really brings the invasion to a global scale. In addition to fantastically bizarre practical alien effects and horror movie mainstay James Cameron, the 86 Invaders from Mars also features a mean teacher.
This is not the way you behave in my classroom.
It took me most of the movie to realize is none other than Louise Fletcher, aka Kai Wynn from Deep Space Nine. She's so good at being the worst. This wasn't one of Tobe Hooper's more respected movies, let's say, but I still think it's worth watching. And related to Louise Fletcher and so good at being evil, Donald Sutherland starred in one of 3 Body Snatchers films from the 90s. This one, The Puppet Masters, is actually very similar to Invaders from Mars in that it also features aliens who invade the body rather than replace it. But what makes Puppet Masters so good is that people get addicted to being controlled. And in the case of Donald Sutherland, there's a chance you might even see the aliens invading as a good thing. Keith David is also in this movie, and you know, if he had just put on the glasses, this whole thing could have been averted. That's all I'm saying.
Put these on.
Hey, stay away from me.
Next up, is the second of our 90s Snatcher movies and the third official film in the Pantheon.
Body Snatchers. The invasion continues.
Unlike the other official films, this one takes place almost entirely on a military base, which is great because I always thought it would make more sense for aliens to come from military defense first, even if they're replacing rather than outright attacking. Also, it weirdly fits the Romero zombie mold. Day of the Dead is set on a military base and it's the third movie. Body Snatchers is set on a military base and it's the third movie. Hey, I like symmetry. But what I like most of all is the third of our 90s Body Snatcher movies, The Faculty, a movie that actually name drops Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's all a part of that 90s self-referential charm.
I think something's taking over our school.
Body Snatchers is a story somebody made up, Dingus. It's located in the fiction section of the library.
Yeah, so is Schindler's List.
And what a cast! Josh Hartnett, Clea Duvall, Famke Janssen, Salma Hayek, Bebe Neuwirth, Elijah Wood, Jon Stewart, Usher, even Robert Patrick. They got the T-1000 for this. Have you seen this boy? Yeah, he got body snatched in the chem lab. Bar none, this is the best Body Snatchers movie of the 90s. It's funny, it's scary, you can't lose. Now we have arrived at the cream of the crop, and some tough calls need to be made. 3 main stories left to talk about. Next one, John Carpenter's The Thing, which, listen man, that is absolutely 100% a Body Snatchers-esque movie. The original A Thing from Another World doesn't have the whole aliens pretend to be your best good friend, nice puppy dog thing going. It's not an exact 1-to-1 ratio. These aren't plant aliens, and it doesn't seem like their intention was to replace us all along. It just kind of ends up seeming like the cool thing to do. That's why The Thing isn't #1 on the list. The best sci-fi horror movie of all time? Maybe. The best Body Snatchers movie? Not quite. Plus, Keith David, man. When are you gonna learn? Put on the damn glasses!
Either put on these glasses or start eating that trash can.
Not this year.
Before we get to the top 2, a couple notable mentions. There was a solid TV series recently called Brain Dead, where alien bugs invade the brains of politicians in order to turn humanity against itself, as you do. It's got recaps done in song every week, and it's depressingly plausible, so that's fun. Also fun is the Looney Tunes short Invasion of the Bunny Snatchers, where all of Bugs Bunny's rivals get replaced with poorly animated doppelgangers, which it turns out was a dig on how Warner Brothers animation quality had been slipping, which is crazy since, you know, it was made by Warner Brothers. Finally, it's worth mentioning that a movie called Strange Invaders comes up on a Google search for Body Snatchers movies, even though you'd never realize what was going on unless you read the liner notes. It's a 50s pastiche from the 80s. People do get replaced by aliens, kind of. Wallace Shawn is in it, so's Nancy Allen, and wait a minute. Louise Fletcher? Kai for the win again? Hang on a second, let me check something. Okay, Louise Fletcher, Strange Invaders, Invaders from Mars, okay. And the Stepford Husbands. I'm not crazy, right? That's weird. Maybe body-snatching aliens really are real. Anyway, let's do the last 2. Ready? Let's get controversial. I'm putting the original 1956 Invasion of the Body Snatchers at #2. I know. It's the first, it's the reason all the others exist, and it's genuinely great. But here's why the Kevin McCarthy classic stays in the second spot. It's that it's almost entirely set in a small town. Now yes, the intimacy is what makes it scary, but I think it's also what limits it a little bit. I think the perfect Body Snatchers movie has the added scope where you can really feel like either you're crazy or the whole world really is out to get you.
Stop! Will you tell these fools I'm not crazy? Make them listen to me before it's too late!
And that is why Invasion of the Body Snatchers 1978 is without a doubt, for me, the best Body Snatchers movie, maybe even one of the best movies ever made. This is the version that understands how to play with scope. Whether it's something as small as Elizabeth quietly sensing something isn't right with her boyfriend, or as large as seeing the entire world overrun with pod people. Kevin McCarthy even returns briefly, and in that way it feels like this Invasion movie is a continuation of the 50s one, What started in a small town has spread to the larger cities, and there's so much nuance in the things that aren't said. Like how Elizabeth and Matthew are clearly in love the whole time, which makes their fates all the more tragic. And I love that they got Leonard Nimoy to play the bad guy, Mr. Spock. Your instinct as a fan of sci-fi is to instantly trust him, so much so that it's hard to accept the truth even when it stares you right in the face, which is exactly how you might feel in real life if you were suddenly confronted with actual body snatchers. And hey, they might be real. I'm not saying distrust the person on the train next to you, but if you see Donald Sutherland or Louise Fletcher, don't be a Keith David. Put on the glasses and get the hell out of there.
The glasses! Oh! Put them on!
The next Body Snatchers movie might be about you. All right, let's shoot this Body Snatchers video.